All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
Brian Shesko.
Gentlemen, coming in hot off of a Easter weekend. I hope everyone had a pseudo nice vacation. I say pseudo vacation weekend, but some people had off on Good Friday and or on Monday. I did not, but some people did. And you know that a lot of things you can say about Easter, but one common theme, at least in the are we in the 21st century now?
Yes.
In the 21st century, is there's usually candy.
Not here. Sorry, Brian.
That has weaved
I
its
asked
way.
about it earlier.
That has weaved its way.
You trying to steal all my kids' candy.
Oh, we just came in and asked. We saw some baskets. They looked very nice and said, hey.
My kids are still awake.
They heard what's you. In the baskets?
They were weeping gently in their beds.
So I just wanted to ask a quick question to get started here, because I feel like there's some controversial traditional Easter candies.
I know where you're going with that.
Like a Cadbury egg.
Yeah.
I like Cadbury.
Sure.
You like Cad?
It's a little too sweet for me, but it's fine.
That's why I like the mini Cadbury cream eggs. They make those.
The cream.
They make Cadbury mini eggs, which are just the hard shell over Cadbury chocolate.
That's the winner.
I want dark chocolate Cadbury mini eggs, but they also make mini Cadbury cream eggs. So they make Cadbury cream eggs.
Nah. I knew.
Yeah.
Again, I would know. I was just saying all this because I knew I could lean on. Brian's an expert at many things.
It's just
typically all right.
Obscure. So Oreos.
So I would say, for me, the Easter candy that I think is the most detestable is Peeps.
Yeah, I'm not a big Peep person, but I don't like marshmallows in general.
My father, and I've known other people to do this, they love to open the Peeps, maybe have one,
let them get hard.
and let them get stale.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And then eat them.
I thought we talked about
this.
Maybe.
With that.
We probably have
every year.
I feel like
I'll do that.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
That would be a little bit better, I think. I don't like them when they're soft.
I just think Peeps are about one of the most detestable things out there.
I just don't like sugar all that much.
No, well, that's probably good. They say quitting sugar is harder than cocaine.
Nah, and it wasn't for me.
Okay, fair enough. I love the honesty. I hope we can always bring full honesty here on this pod.
What is your go-to then? So it's not Peeps. What is it?
I don't remember having really any. I think the Reese's peanut butter eggs are pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Right?
I don't like the big ones. I like the smaller ones. Same thing. Mini ones are like the way to go. I like that.
Yeah,
it's like a good. Good size.
I'm not a candy connoisseur, but there are some things that I like. I like my candy bar go-to is Twix.
Okay.
Okay. I love Twix, but like other ones are fine. But I'm not.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna grab one, it's gonna be a Twix.
Or two. Grab two.
Kit Kats.
Are you a left Twix or right Twix?
Right.
Right. I see. I was waiting for you to say you go both ways. That's why I was
Kit
hoping
Kats are fine. Kit Kats are pretty good.
I like Kit Kat.
Fun fact: Japan has about 1 million different flavors of Kit Kats.
I've heard that.
It's like the candy of Japan.
There's like a melon flavor.
No, they have all
sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's
like,
wild.
Think of a flavor.
Cool.
Actually, tons of flavors we don't have here in the Americas, and they'll have them over there. So, anyways, all right. Enough candy talk. We are here to discuss the dismal, for me, triple captain week of 33, but then mainly here to focus on 34, what many people are calling the free hit 34. So here we are, Travis, and you've already activated your free hit, correct?
I did.
As we were starting the pod, activated mine, so I will be shaping it as this pod goes along. Brian, you were referencing there's probably a decent free hit template that a lot of people are going to be going to. You know, guys you probably must have going into this process.
If you like free hit templates and you like free hit drafts, social media is your, I don't know, Shangri-La.
Ooh.
What's the best place you can go to?
Cincinnati.
Okay.
It's your Cincinnati.
Social media is your Cincinnati.
Wow.
that's all it is. It's everybody sharing whatever they are team they're putting together. So if you like seeing what other people are doing, go check it out. They're all over the place. Well, we wanted to talk about it. First of all, did you say that your week was bad?
Yeah.
Game week 33.
I would rather not talk about it.
Another disappointing.
That's the first thing on the list, so we need to talk about it.
We can dive on that first thing.
Another useless game week in the books.
So
it wasn't useless for everybody.
If anything, it makes my heart happy that my streak continues of just pure doo-doo
on triple captains.
Another word on a triple captain.
Yeah.
And I put it on Saka.
Yeah.
He subs off in the 56th minute with a knock and then comes in and subs in today against Palace. And he got me a grand total from 2 games of 6 points, and that's on the triple captain. So do the fast math there, Travis. He got 2 points, triple it to 6. It's just brutal. And whatever, man. It was just Salah has a nothing burger. Jacob Murphy doesn't do anything. De Bruyne gets an assist, I guess. Sarr doesn't do anything through 2 games. Munoz gives you a 6. I had a couple bright spots, but it was just a dismal. Brian, you alluded to this earlier. Anyone with Matt's, or is it Matt Sells?
Yeah.
With Matt's, he's got a Z on there. Matt's Sells.
Yeah, Matt's. Yeah, it's not just
plural.
Matt.
It's plural Matt's.
Yeah.
It's double Matt.
It's not plural.
Matt's Sells. Get what Forrest in the first game gave up. It was 2 games, right? Yeah, Forrest had 2 games. Am I crazy?
No, Forrest only played one game. They lost 2-1, or they won 2-1 against Spurs.
And they give up a goal to Richarlison late in the match.
Yeah, 87th minute goal to Richarlison. I think between all of the Marmoush, nothing.
Marmoush gives you a nothing burger.
Isak nothing. Salah nothing. Saka nothing. De Bruyne ends up with nothing. Just the normal points that he could get. I think it's not wasn't my stat, but just that between all the most captain people, it was like a combined XG of 6 or something like that. Finished with no points. Tons of big chances, tons of shots. Salah took 7 shots this week. And I mean, you were watching it. Hit both posts.
With the same shot?
I totally get it. Everybody frustrated. I also ended up captaining Saka. I had a last second change of heart and didn't get it in the time for the deadline to switch to Marmoush. I was going to switch to Marmoush, which wouldn't have been all that.
At least you got a 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned in. Average was 56. I turned in a 59.
Okay, right.
Hey, you're above average.
On a chip. Brutal.
It's rare that you
on
a triple captain.
Look,
that's pretty
I looked it up because I'm in FPL morning. Out of the last 7 out of 8 weeks, it's been either below average or barely above average.
Yeah.
And it has been brutal.
Well, I already said
I missed on the assistant manager chip.
Yeah,
that hardly got me anything.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Triple captain's brutal. And it's just I got bench boost left and I'll do it in 38.
I already assumed I was going to get I think I said that last week. I'm going to get the same points that everyone else is getting.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing it was just a few people here and there. The bench boost was useless. It was only a good week if you had Bumo, Wissa, Trossard. I guess Kivior helped things out for you.
I did have Kivior.
So you had Kivior, that
That's
helped.
the only thing that floated my team.
And or Matheus Nunez, one of your top performers of all the people who
not one of the people we talked about last week in City-ish.
No. It's his first Premier League goal in 2 years.
Yeah. So there's
what a time to be alive.
There was a handful of people who did score 10 points or more. So if Mateta ends up coming in in the end. Did you have Mateta?
Great goal. What a goal by him.
Yeah. So, but that's lucky though. That's the thing. I mean, good that he scored, but as soon as he was benched, I think everyone was making plans for what to do to get rid of him this week or next week. And then he scores a great goal.
By the way, did you see his after-game interview?
No.
Dude, he's a funny guy. He is a really funny guy.
I missed it.
Like, his teammates probably love him.
I was going to wear my John Philip Mateta shirt today.
Oh, really?
He's John Philip in the United States, by the way.
Jean-Philippe.
We're not in France.
On the broadcast.
We're not in France.
On the broadcast, they were just calling him JP.
JP, yeah.
Haven't heard that before.
Oh, look, I mean, he jump kicks the corner flag after he scores, and the whole stadium
we should
says
call him
boom.
Jean-Claude.
That is personality right there.
Jean-Claude.
We're all in favor
Van
of that.
Damme.
That's funny.
Oh, by the way, you know the Forest people, then they see him running up, they're going, oh. And when he kicks it, they go, boom.
He means Palace.
Yeah.
I was going to let him get there, but I'm glad you corrected.
What did I say?
It's Forest.
Oh, Forest. Yeah, I meant Palace. Yeah.
Great point from, I know, I don't, at this point, I just think that it's good advice mixed in with light trolling from Andy Martin, who said the advantage of free hit 34 is that you get to keep your Arsenal players for the game between two UCL semifinal ties. Liverpool players, after they've been celebrating the title
true.
all week away to Chelsea
This is so true.
Chelsea.
This is a really good point.
And Newcastle players for their tough run of fixtures. Great planning. Part of it though, I mean, even going into last week, that was part of my reason for getting rid of some of that was why I wanted to get rid of minimum. I had to get rid of Dan Byrne. I never had Jacob Murphy or any of the midfielders, so I kept Isak just for the attacking returns. And
there weren't any.
Well,
not really. I mean,
that was something we talked about it last week. One of the moves I wanted to make. Because I said I was considering, it was Isak. It was either keep Isak and one of the midfielders who was Isak and Savinho. And I was thinking about selling Isak to get Wissa so that I could get De Bruyne. So you
didn't do it?
And I didn't. I only sold Savinho to get Morgan Rogers.
Which is not a bad pickup.
I went super boring on the pick.
That's great, though. You should have also done the Wissa change.
Should have gone the other way. Would have been better.
On Rodgers and Wissa, that would have been awesome.
Would have been better long term. And but whatever.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I understand what he's saying though, and I think that's going to be part of what we talk about tonight. Is just what do you do with some of these players, especially if you're not on a free hit. I also saw a different post. Did not bookmark it. Did not like it. So I don't know where it was. Just
typical.
Essentially said what I was feeling this week, which is I got the exact same points as everyone else, but also so that I could be on free hit 34 with everyone else. So again, the same points as everyone else. Absolutely good planning. Top tier process. The only real news I think this week was that the fixture difficulty rater, everybody was making a big deal about the Leicester and Southampton are now dark green, so you now have a 1 on the easy ranking.
You've been asking for it for years.
For Leicester.
Should have happened a long time
ago.
Been
wondering when the dark green was going to come flying in.
Should have been like that most of the season. Apparently the first time it's been like that for 6 seasons.
Ooh.
Which I don't even remember. Who would have... Yeah. We were playing 6 years ago. I don't remember. I don't know who it would have been.
Yeah, maybe it was something like that.
Either way, overall could have been worse. Definitely the average was way below. I think last season, game week 34 was the one that if you free hit that game week, that was where points were in like the well above 100. I think some people cleared 200 points. Remember last season, there was those all the double game week pileups and everything that happened basically from game week 30 on. I mean that's how I ended up with any good score of my own last season was that.
I think you came really close to 200 also, didn't
31
you?
through the end of the season was because the double game weeks all paid off and a lot of the moves that stuff that people weren't prepping for the same way. But whatever. I am on free hit 34. You are on free hit 34. Dave is activating free hit 34 right this second.
Yep,
there it is.
And is going to be
I saw
not
him push
listening.
it.
He's going to be not listening while he makes his team, or
correct.
listening in part and then making
correct.
changes as we go.
completely correct.
He'll tune in when he hears something he likes.
Completely correct.
So do you feel like that is recapped?
Yeah, I think we're recapped.
Let's
move on to
it was stupid.
the free hit team that everyone wants.
I would say, Dave, to start, just as a strategy question, Travis, if you care about this.
No, I don't.
What I was considering doing is only picking players who are like definitely only playing players that are 10% selected or less.
Okay.
That's an
And
interesting strategy.
trying to pick as many 5% or less starters
Okay.
as is sensible.
Okay.
So that is a strategy that I think, like we said it last week, I think you can find plenty more people who are going to say play your own game, turn off,
Paint your own rainbow.
as we sit here,
live your own truth.
as we sit here, creating content, telling you don't listen to content creators. But I like that as
I think that's
as
an
a
interesting
strategy.
one. I think that's an interesting one. That could be cool.
This will take a second. Start at the back. Who's the world picking? Which you can see just from, just on
Anyone can look that
transfers in. Matt Sells, number 1 transferred goalkeeper in. Leno, second.
I actually disagree with.
I'm on
Matt
Leno as well.
Sells. He was in my team, but I actually on my free hit, I'm taking him out of the team.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I will probably have
Leno,
Sells
They're playing the booming boomos and the
Oh, yeah. No, we can talk about that in a second.
wonderful Visas.
Leno, second most transferred in. Nick Pope, understandably.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
honestly-
Pope.
I
Pope's
think
probably
Pope
a better
is
pick.
is the best
There-
goalkeeper.
I have better Newcastle people to deal with though. That's my
That's the
issue.
thing.
no.
I
That's
like
why-
Pope.
that's why-
Wolves goalkeeper.
That's why Pope's
Is
not
it,
in
is
my
it
team.
Sa?
I have Jose Sa right now, but I think he's hurt.
Jordan Pickford, let's keep going on the line. Just that Jordan
Yeah.
Pickford is 4th most transferred in, which is entirely a rest of season. That's a rest of season permanent transfer.
Think so?
That's
Yeah.
they're at Chelsea this week.
But then, yeah.
Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, and
that's
Newcastle in the last
absolutely.
4. So you get Ipswich and
I don't
Southampton
hate
at
that.
home.
And they're definitely going to face a lot of shots against Ipswich. and Newcastle.
Allison 5th most transferred in. Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal in the next 3. How sure are you for anyone
No.
on Liverpool? We can
No,
talk about the
I-
rest of
I
the
think-
front as we go, but Allison for sure.
I think
Is it worth
I
starting?
think Cleve Kelleher might actually get a decent run at the end. If they secure it,
He'll
on
play
Sunday,
the rest.
I don't know if he'll play the rest, but I think he'll get a decent run because
Would
I
you
think
want him?
I think it's his farewell. I think he's done.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, it sounds like he might be going to Bournemouth. Truthfully,
Oh, nice.
because unless Chelsea sells Kepa to him, which would be awesome,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Someone else would want him.
Kepa or Kelleher?
Kelleher.
Oh yeah, no, he's going to be well shopped. He's still under contract, so we should get a decent amount for him. But I would not be
Manchester United-
surprised if
Manchester United
he's not
could
going
use
to
him.
United.
I
I can promise you right now, he's not going to United.
You would not be buying Allison though. Would you
I don't
buy
think
him
so.
this week?
We're only
I guess
talking free
no,
hits right
no.
now. Only
I
Spurs,
don't think
Spurs
so.
aren't scoring
All
on
right.
you.
No, I did bring Virgil in though, but we're not there yet.
right.
So anyway, yeah,
Those
I'm
are
not
the
really.
top
I'm not
goalkeeper
sure what else to
transfers.
do. To your point about Wolves, yes, you should keep an eye on Wolves goalkeeper to see if
Yes.
Sa or Daniel Bentley, who's the backup goalkeeper, whether he starts again
If you're
this
free
week.
hitting though.
If you're free hitting, that's the reason why you would. And this is the only reason why I say that.
Because he's under 5%.
He's 1.7%. Sa had a muscle injury in warm-ups against Manchester United. That's why Bentley got the start. So, of course, he comes in with 2 saves, gets a bonus point, gets you 7 points.
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I'm
That's
sure
actually
Vardy-
a pretty
Vardy
good
will
play.
score in the first
So
minute,
you
by the way.
You're
you
you're
buy
hedging-
Bentley, you start him because the matchup's good, and then worst case scenario, he doesn't play,
Yeah.
and you have Sells, Leno, somebody.
Yeah, literally
That's
anyone
not a bad
else.
I like that.
The only way you could play it otherwise, you talk about with defenders, is if you wanted to really pile up. Because Cunha's most transferred in forward,
Yeah.
so most people are already putting him
Yep.
in. I think understandable. Nori is already
Yes.
one of the next most transferred in players. So you're probably 2 of your Wolves spots are already taken up by those 2 guys.
Who else would you get though?
Well, so that's the question: is do you go for another Wolves defender and just take your chances on one of the other relegated teams? You know, somebody who's playing a relegated team as a goalkeeper. So it's a question. Just that you're
Leno.
hedging.
It's Leno,
Also,
right?
you should ask yourself, okay, so Jamie Vardy posted, his kind of long rant about, how pathetic they are and how disappointed and embarrassing their performances have been. If you're going to be angry and take your aggression out on someone, Leicester at home against this pathetic Wolves team would be the time to do it. Was Leicester's performance against Liverpool?
Whoa. Wolves
Wolves have been
are
pretty
the
good.
pick against Leicester.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying
He's basically saying, is there going to be a backlash from Leicester out of anger from being relegated?
Leicester was that. First of all, was that goalkeeper interference on Allison?
No.
Connor
100% no.
Cody.
That's a goal all day.
The guy did make a play on the ball, and they claimed that he didn't. And you can find a million shots of where he did.
I
make a
think
play.
it's a goal all day.
I thought it was a goal.
I think it's a goal all day.
Right.
And reasonable people disagreed with me. But I said it from the beginning. I don't like that call.
Yeah.
That should have been a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The keeper, and the weird thing is that there's been worse interference that hasn't been called this season.
Correct.
Where keepers are going up and catching the ball and the ball's getting knocked out of their hands. Yeah. And it's not called, and that doesn't make I don't like it. I don't like it. It was very soft. 100% it was a goal.
I'm not saying that Wolves. I'm saying that yes, everyone is treating this week on their free hit as target the relegated teams, and Leicester's in that group.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Leicester did just put in, of all the teams to put in a spirited performance this week, Leicester against Liverpool was as spirited a performance as any of the teams that they could have been. So I'm just wondering if the Jamie Vardy rant equals. Like they're flying that banner over the stadium, like King Power, kind of like the like out with the ownership doesn't know what they're doing. And that banner's flying over. I'm just saying, I just wonder if
they were also at home though.
Weird.
Well, Wolves,
they're on the road.
Yeah.
They're on the road at Wolves.
Yeah, this isn't at King Power. This is at Molineux.
You're not going to get that home energy. That big home energy.
But still, I just wonder if it's not like this is.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave.
It's primed for a reaction. I'm just saying, if it was a different team,
I just don't think they have anything left in them.
All right.
I think they're done.
It's not going to keep.
I think whatever they had, they gave to Liverpool, and they fell short.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
It's going to be an interesting point.
I just wouldn't.
Brian, they're a 1.
I know
on the color meter.
I know they're so easy.
Crazy.
They can't do anything. Obviously, they're a 1.
Obviously,
but they can't. they just can't.
They have not been.
They haven't. They have a hard time finding goals.
There's not any other. I don't think any of the other goalkeepers. I think once you go kind of beyond that, you're either buying for the rest of the season and taking a chance on. You're just going toward. Yeah. I don't know. You're buying Flecken because there's a couple green matchups which include Manchester United now.
This is absolutely a week where, like, I've filled a team out and I'm like, oh great, now who am I going to start?
Yeah.
Like,
same.
No, for sure.
Brian, like you mentioned last week, stacking chips. This feels like a week where you can put out a pretty good free hit team, and your bench is going to be like outscoring your entire team.
That's where I am, and I still have $4 in my bank.
Yeah,
I have 7 at the moment still in my bank.
Yeah, and I had to do work to get it.
Yeah, money doesn't seem to be an issue this week.
Brian, have you filled a team out yet? Well, we're still going. All right,
so that's goalkeepers. I
template defenders.
Odds are good. You're going to pick from one of those. Definitely one of those first 4. I don't think you're buying Allison. So really, it would come down to
Leno and Pope, and maybe Saw/Bentley.
Right. If you're gonna go after one of the promoted teams, and then if you're buying for the rest of the season, you're probably I don't know how you'll avoid Pickford temptation.
And let's be honest, Pope is the best pick. The issue though is that limits what you can
Right.
pick further forward. So since there are other options,
Yeah.
it's probably a decent idea to go with one of
And
those.
that's how I'm currently set up, which is
I know, I'm looking at that because I'd love to get Harv and Murphy in.
Because remember also, Ipswich is playing without Leif
Davis.
Davis. So,
So speaking of defenders, Ryan Aitnori is most transferred in. Probably did he go up to 5 tonight?
4-9.
Oh, he's still 4-9. All
Yeah, I
right,
don't
so
see
he'll
that
be
in there.
5 before probably tomorrow. Was it 12.9% selected a little bit ago? I'm curious what the effective ownership of these free hit people will be for
question.
the game week.
Aitnori did just go up, by the way.
Oh, he's 5?
Tonight. He went up to 5 tonight. Literally while we were talking.
Are you
earlier.
kidding me?
Yeah, he did.
He's
So-
on my screen as a 4-9. Not that money's a problem at the moment.
Well, if you try and transfer him right now,
It'll say
it will error out
it
because
will error. It's
you
done that-
dawdled.
It's done that to me before.
But I mean, it's not like you don't have the money, so it's fine.
It's true.
For what it's worth, I don't know if this matters to you guys, but Totti,
Yes.
4.3
Francisco Totti.
defender. No, Totti Gomez
Oh.
from Wolves.
Mm.
He's had in the last 4 game weeks, he's had the higher XG of the Wolves defenders. So he's got more shots and more
Alright.
shots on target, more in the box than no, that's not true. I think Aitnori's outshot him, but he has a 0.57 XG. Ryan Aitnori 0.49. It's just that Aitnori has so much more, I don't know, overall box involvement. Just he's
And-
in the 14 touches in the box
Yeah.
to 4. Plus, I would just say he's one of the routes to points guys where he's just creating way more chances. I'm not advocating Totti over
Aitnori.
I'm just saying it is a guy like that would be one of your that would be an option.
I had Totti and Aitnori in there. What's super annoying?
Right.
Can I share my annoyance at the moment?
Yeah.
I mean, I would be
I
mad
sent
if you didn't.
Aitnori out before I refreshed the page, and then brought someone in just as a placeholder because I knew his price changed.
Sure.
And I tried to confirm the changes, and it said no. So someone else who I brought in, their price changed as well.
Oh, Dave.
Super annoying. So now I'm having to redo it all.
So I like that's an obvious pick. It's probably going to be in a lot of teams.
Bumo's price changed. Isak's price went up, and Aitnori's
Really?
price went up.
Huh.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then Cunha went up yesterday. No,
Fabian-
sorry, Cunha went up on the 22nd, so 2 days ago.
Fabian Scher, another obvious one who's second most transferred in for defenders. Number 1 defender in points, at least of the teams who are playing or available players for game week 34. 32 points in the last 4 games for Fabian Scher. Easily one of my top disappointments of actual should have.
Share versus Burn.
Just an idiotic move in all the idiotic moves I've made this season. It's the second. It's either second or third stupidest thing I've done this season. He's tied for first. He's taken the most shots of any defender in the last 4 games.
That's amazing.
That's big.
And he's number 1 for shots on target in the last 4 games. So Fabian Scher to me was a no-brainer pick for me, especially because that's the thing. Again, free hit. This free hit in particular, his 5.5 stopped a lot of people from getting him. I think Trippier was the same way a few weeks ago. 5.5 and 5.6 stopped you from getting him. Livramento and Byrne were a lot more popular for actual get team selection, but they were the better choices, I think, for attack. Now money's not an issue, and Fabian Scher, probably Trippier will be. I would guess Trippier is going to be in a lot more teams than he was. Milenkovic still somehow in the top 3 of transfers in for defenders, despite Nottingham Forest looking shaky. Dave,
I thought he wasn't going with shaky. I thought you were going a different direction.
2.14 expected goals conceded against Tottenham. So of course they win 2-1.
Yeah.
Thanks to FPL Cole Palmer, another FPL account. Thank you, FPL Cole Palmer. Nottingham Forest defense in the last 5 game weeks, third worst for shots conceded, fourth worst for shots in the box conceded, fourth worst for shots on target conceded, sixth worst for big chances conceded,
Good gosh.
fourth worst for non-penalty XG conceded. And then another account replying to him basically just said that they also have the FA Cup game 4 days before this and can't exactly use their B team against Manchester City. So Brentford attack may be not just something that is a
But
trendy
even then,
pick,
what are you going to do? It's got to be Vissa and Bumo. You were
right.
already going to do that. Who else are you going to bring in?
If you're buying for the rest of the season, you've already figured out a way to
Both
do
of
that
them,
right
yeah.
now. I should have done that already.
Who else?
There is no one else.
So, yeah.
The only guy...
I guess that's my point, is that we already own them, right?
So it was, I think it's Collins. Isn't it Nathan Collins?
Yeah.
The defender for them.
Yeah.
Who...
He's awesome. I love watching him play.
So obviously not a good game this week against Brighton. They conceded too many goals, plus he got a yellow card, so he finished this week with a 0. But for the season, Nathan Collins has 104 points. He's in the top 10
I like him.
for defender scoring.
Interesting.
Total for the season. So it's not a terrible choice for the rest of the way. If you're already buying Brentford players as it is, he'd be one of the guys just because he's stayed at 4 or 5.
That's cool.
He's a 2.8% selected. It's not a guy that anybody's ever going to go to. It's just one of those players where. But yes, the answer is there is no one. You're not buying Flecken this week, I don't think. You're probably not buying one of the defenders this week. Brentford's still terrible defensively.
Yeah, and they're going to get scored on. Forest can score, even if they're defensive.
Chris Wood's there, right?
And he scored this week, so.
All right.
Ta-da.
Virgil is next most transferred in. He might be the safest defender pick of the week, but also probably the most boring pick ever.
Yeah.
25 points in the last 4 games for Verge, which is third best for defenders, at least of the teams playing this week. But in the last 4 games, 4 total shots, 1 shot on target, a total XG in 4 games of 0.18. The only reason why you're buying him is that you have a lot of money to spend, and you think Liverpool is going to wrap it up with a clean sheet.
They're going to try to,
week.
for sure.
So,
no question.
Trent is next. Now we're talking.
Who?
Trav, explain to the people at home why they should be nervous or not nervous about Trent Alexander-Arnold starting this week against Tottenham.
He's not fit. End of story, right? He's been out for an extended period of time.
Okay.
He's ripping his shirt off, bro, jumping into the crowd. Woo! I'm going to Madrid. I hate this jersey. Get out of here.
He didn't jump in.
Look at my flex.
He wouldn't dare jump in the crowd. They might tear him up.
Oh, they were cheering him on.
Yeah, I don't have him in my team because if he comes on, he may be dangerous like he proved this week. But the issue is, how many minutes is he going to play? So, can he start? Probably. Would he play 90 minutes? No way. Is that a good thing? Maybe.
Does it make Trent and Connor Bradley both non-picks this week?
Yeah, I think so. It did for me personally. Yes.
Okay.
There's just more. There's more people to pick. So going back to what you were saying, I get the idea of Liverpool seems like a reasonable pick. Virgil's about the only one that I would grab.
You don't think they start Trent if he's fit enough? They don't start him in the closeout game of the season. This is your closeout game. You win. You win.
I don't know.
Okay.
It literally could go either way, because the other option could be that if we need to close out the game, if he can't go 90 minutes, and I don't think he can.
I wouldn't expect that at all.
If he can't go 90 minutes and we need to close out the game, he's the guy you bring on like we did for this week, right?
Okay.
Connor Bradley is good and probably is more defensively sound. So we can keep Tottenham from scoring, which is really all we need to do, and we need to find a goal. If we can't find a goal, why not bring Trent on at that point and go, right? I think that's probably the more likely scenario than putting Trent on and trying to catch a goal early and then chasing the game. Because if we're chasing the game and Trent can't go the distance, putting Bradley on doesn't do anything for us.
Yeah. I mean, I want to believe in him, but I don't. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, the hope is starting to get at people right now, so that all of the talk right now is he's changed his mind. He's changed his mind. He's changed his mind. He's
changed his mind. He's
made
not
it up 3
years ago.
He's not changing.
2 years ago when you were playing Madrid in the
He's not changing his mind.
Champions
But
League final.
that's what's going on right now.
Dave,
is everybody's starting to get the hope going.
Just in case you were wondering, Trent, despite only playing 19 minutes in the last 4 game weeks, is still the number 1 scoring defender for the season.
And who's number 2?
Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
So I want him to be in my team. He currently is in my team. He can easily go to anybody else, but I don't know. It's more about what I kind of think they will want to do with him, but if there's any word that there's no training or whatever, I don't know if it'll matter. I agree with what you're saying. It's more of a sentimental pick for me.
So I want to move on to a guy that I don't think you're going to talk about.
Okay.
2% ownership.
Okay.
Which I think is criminal at this point, given the last 6-7 weeks that he's played. Good matchup.
We were going to talk
really
about
good.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's further down, which is actually surprising.
Surprising me. That's why
you got to be talking about
Ryan Sessegnon.
Well, so that's the big
team.
question. So Anthony Robinson is still 2 transfers in by player ahead of Sessegnon.
That makes no sense.
And Anthony Robinson is one of those, like, to me it's another boring, like, oh, he did good this season and I know him, so I'll just pick him again kind of pick. Jedi Robinson 1 or 0 in 7 of the last 8 matches. A 1 or a 0. Not even a 2. So I know part of that's more of an indictment on the Fulham defense, I think, than it is on him, because he's still excellent. I just think that they've just been bad. Southampton should cure all ills.
They're probably going to get scored on, but they will score.
Chukwa still plays for Southampton, though, so ask West Ham how that goes.
Ouch.
But the weird one for me with Anthony Robinson is that he's created 5 chances in the last 4 games and has 0 shots, which to me that's a big deal, because for the season he has the most assists, at least FPL assists. So he has 10 FPL assists this season, and he's currently 4th among defenders for chances created. So at least in the last 4 game weeks, like, he's done none of that. And whether that's because it's all I assume that's a intentional thing, that he's just not being asked to do that as much, and it's going a lot through the wingers. But either way,
but most of their goals are breakaway goals, aren't they? And he's especially from him,
Adama Traore,
and
Muniz,
and Robinson as well,
Raul.
right? Robinson's usually the one breaking out and then feeding them.
He had been until 8 weeks ago.
And he fell off a cliff.
So he's got 1 clean sheet.
He must have picked up a knock.
He's been playing 90 minutes.
Fine. Yeah.
So I don't know. 19% selected for Anthony Robinson, which is really high, which is probably the number 1 reason why I would not be picking him. But he's still in the top 10 of transfers in.
He's still capable.
Kirkes also ahead of Sessegnon. That's another one that people back on Bournemouth.
Bournemouth has had back-to-back clean sheets against Fulham and Palace.
Right, and Manchester United now a green-rated matchup because they're so terrible.
It's right, though.
But also Kirkes underwhelming statistically recently. 1 shot, 4 chances created in the last 4 games. I don't know, man. It's another guy that to me, I'm like, I don't care.
But who else are you going for, though?
Right. So Sessegnon.
Well, it depends. You only have so many starting spots. Like I'm telling you right now, I've already made, I think, most of the transfers, which might change during this pod. We'll get to my free hit team when we start.
I have 2 Bournemouth defenders, but both of them are on my bench.
So Sessegnon.
I think that's a good matchup against United.
I think it is too.
But I like other ones.
Next. 11 points this week.
Just
we did talk about Sessignon last
we did
week.
a little bit briefly.
23 points in the last 4 games, which is 4th best among defenders. And weirdly, he did it in 231 minutes.
Yeah,
he did start the last 3. In the last 4 game weeks, Ryan Sessignon is first among the available defenders for the game week. He's first for XG. He's tied for the most shots. Second for shots on target. He's got 2 assists. Not a lot of chances created, but first for assists in the last 4 game weeks. And 22 touches in the opposition box, which is first by a large margin.
Yeah.
He's a captain choice.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to go real crazy with it, but you just it's a minutes risk. Like it's 81, 56, and 78. That's his last 3 games of minutes. So, do they rotate him? Probably not. Does he play 80? Does he play more than 80 minutes? Probably not. So it's just how bad is Southampton?
And will they score late when he's already off the pitch?
Right. Any of the guys who are going to sub early, it might help you just to avoid the end of game nonsense.
If you're captaining a defender, sure.
Right.
But
was he a no-brainer given the results for you?
100% for me. He was one of the first people I put on the team sheet.
Who, Sessignon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Anybody that's paying attention, I think.
So I mean, look,
easy pick.
We can start here and we can continue. We're going to continue to go through the positions, but I'm targeting the 3 relegated teams.
Yeah. Why? Like, there's no reason not to at this point.
Right.
Are they going to get jolted into life? Maybe.
I think Sessignon and Leno.
Yeah, I agree.
Freeing up other spots. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want any other Fulham player. Maybe a Iwobi. I already have a midfield starting crisis as it is. I have someone on the bench who I don't want to bench, and I don't know how to do it.
You can play 5.
Yeah, but I also want to play.
You want to play 3 forwards.
I want to
play
at least 2 forwards.
If you had built your team the right way, you'd be not free hitting in 34, and you'd be bench boosting in 34.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would be
the correct move. Seems to have been the possibility.
But the team that you'd have.
I mean, honestly, I could get pretty dang close to this free hit team.
But the team that you
with
have,
hits and then bench boost. But I'm not going to free hit anything else.
The team that you'd have to get to this point. I don't know. It's not that bad, honestly. But
yeah,
I don't know. I couldn't do it.
You could. I mean, I don't really see. I mean, the defenders for Fulham. I mean, you can either go for certainty of minutes and pick basically Joaquin Anderson or
maybe
Anthony Robinson. If Castagna, if you want to go there.
No, I think it's for me. It's Sessignon and Yellow.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the thing. Like even this week, like Castagna played 12 minutes. I think there's just minutes risks all around for that defense, and also, by the way, they've not been that tight.
They are on a run of 2 clean sheets.
Fulham?
No, that's incorrect. I was looking at a different team.
That was
Bournemouth.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like this isn't like this.
No, you're right.
This is not. It's all about the matchup, and I understand going for it. It's just that like
when they played Southampton earlier in the season, it was 0-0.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
take that.
Just to round out, just some of the other names. Cucurella is after Sessignon.
Cucurella has been on a crazy hot streak.
I think Chelsea's been bad.
I know, but Cucurella somehow keeps getting points, and it's weird. I'm not saying
not recently. He had that 2.
You're right.
He had that back-to-back against relegated teams where he was awesome.
Never mind, that was a long time ago.
But
Cucurella, he was at his level.
Like the fact that he's even in the discussion, I've seen him in a bunch of teams, like as if Everton. I think it's just
Everton's has had trouble scoring.
Yeah, but betting on this version of Chelsea,
I agree.
Playing against this version of Everton seems stupid.
I agree.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that.
Yeah, sure. Go get Cucurella on a free hit or whatever, but it's only on a free hit because if you're actually buying him, after this week, it's Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. I don't know why you'd want a Chelsea player.
Right.
Maybe Palmer, maybe for the rest of the season, but I don't even know, man. They've just been so weird.
I agree.
Guardiol and then Livramento and Trippier kind of round out the list. I get Guardiol just for rest of season pick, but he's already in 30% of teams. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's too many that already had him. Livramento and Trippier also, I think, if you want to do a void, because you're not buying Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Cher is the obvious choice for a lot of reasons.
So from a differential standpoint, that's not terrible.
Trippier, I don't know. They've both created the same number of chances in the last 4 games. And Livramento actually has created 2 big chances, and Trippier has created 0. So, I mean, I don't know. Trippier probably is just because even less people are going to go for him.
Okay.
So,
All right.
whatever. That's most of the.
All
I mean, that's basically all of the defenders that you're even going to.
Let's jump to forwards because that'll be a quicker segment.
Probably.
And come back to midfielders.
The forwards, that's the thing. I think the forwards, the big question is like, how recency biased are you going to be? Because Cunha scores this week, or got an assist this week, and got 3 bonus points. So he creates the goals with his back-to-back games now with returns for him. I guess that's enough for everyone to forget what a absolute nut job he's capable of being.
Yes, but he had missed 4 games. He subs on against Tottenham, gets a goal,
right?
As they win. Wolves have won 5 games in a row.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
It's good vibe Wolves.
He's an obvious pick. I think also like,
and Brian, he almost meets your qualification. He's only 10.7 selected. I'm sure that will go up.
And Strand Larson keeps playing. He's going to play with him. I mean, Strand Larson did not. It's not like Cunha didn't play because Strand Larson did. They both, like, Strand Larson still played 73 minutes this week. That's one where Cunha, like, everyone's jumping straight back to him. But Strand Larson did go 13-9-6-6 in the previous 4 games. So it's not like Strand Larson was, like, I avoided him because I thought he was terrible, and it turned out that he played 4 games where he was not terrible. So I don't know. All
right, so here's a question, Travis. Would you rather have 2 Wolves defenders or 2 Wolves strikers? Ironically, their midfield is good luck.
Defenders.
Home to Leicester.
Yeah, I think defenders. Leicester's defense is not great, but their offense is even worse.
Cunha's I think he's a borderline captain pick this week.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
I mean, I really do. I think he's a borderline captain pick.
I think Ipswich at home for Newcastle is just too good to be true, but that's got to be a captain. So it's got to be a Newcastle.
Right, but you also have a little bit more of a headache there because you got.
Yeah, but that headache, I don't know that you can go wrong against Ipswich. I just think that whoever you pick is gonna do something, bro.
Okay.
Anyways,
all right,
but yeah,
all right.
defenders.
So Brian
Cunha's obvious. Chris Wood got back on everybody's radar again this week because he scored. He had the other goal ruled out for basically a shoulder or a knee or something. I mean, it was extremely close. And they're playing Brentford at home, and I know we just talked about how bad Brentford has been defensively, or about how bad Nottingham Forest has been defensively, but
they found goals.
Brentford for the season, Brentford have allowed, first of all, they're 10th in away games for expected goals allowed. So they're right kind of in the middle. But the weird stat for them this season is that they've allowed the most shots of any team in the league. So they are number 1 for shots allowed.
Away or period?
Period. They have allowed 573 shots. It's more shots than Southampton has allowed.
Wow.
And they've allowed the fourth most shots on target. So they've allowed a billion shots, and the 4th most shots on target. And I just think defensively, there is nothing about Brentford defensively that you're like, Nottingham Forest has been bad recently defensively, and they've overperformed so much, on a lot of the expected stats. Like, watch it just be 1-1. And 2 nobodies end up with goals in it. I'm just saying, like, both teams have been so, like, Brentford's been bad for the season defensively. Nottingham Forest has been bad defensively for a while now. So this is kind of like, does something have to give here? It feels like it kind of does. I'm not sure that you can pick wrong. Just that Chris Wood seems like a good choice. Wissa seems like a good choice. Bumo seems like a good choice. When you talked about midfielders, I'm not really sure what to do with like the Anthony Alangas or Callum Hudson-Odois, like the midfielders for Nottingham Forest. But those guys could be good choices here. I'm not sure if there's a bad pick in there. But Chris Wood, like, he's second most transferred in just because he's back, scores this week.
Yeah.
Obviously he's going to end up in a lot of teams. Wissa is going to obviously end up in a lot of teams. He's a pick for not just this week, pick for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. I wish I wasn't free hitting just so I could actually buy him. Isak, 4th most transferred in. He should not be in my team anyway in real life, but for the free hit, he's still in there. I don't know. Did the Villa thrashing? Does that do anything for you? I mean, I think it's
going to be angry Newcastle coming back home.
Look how much they just crushed. They just had gone on that 5-game run of just smashing people, and it feels like the Aston Villa game, which is kind of like it's a statement game, and you get obliterated. Like
they needed that too.
Biggest crashing back to earth. I guess for the one thing with him was just that this week he's staying right on the 75-minute. Since game week 28, it's been kind of, I feel like we talked about that, less than 80 minutes every week. Probably just expect the same unless the game gets out of hand. And I would imagine that they get Callum Wilson in there. Or they just look at the run-in and just say, you know what? If there was ever a time for us to rest Alexander Isak,
now's it.
It's home against the worst, one of the worst teams in the league.
I could absolutely see that happening. They're going to get 3 points with autopilot, right? I absolutely agree with that. I think you're spot on that assessment, and that is definitely a fear for sure. And that's where having a strong bench is helpful.
If he doesn't sub in.
If
they're thrashing, then he shouldn't sub in, right? Yeah. Just give him the day off.
I think I'm not saying that they will. It's just that given where they are in the table, given how close
they need
everything
the
is,
points.
like they absolutely do. Everything's so tight in the top. I just don't know how. I don't know how they rest him if he's fit. But they're in 5th. They're 2 points ahead of Chelsea and Aston Villa. Like, you can't lose.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose to Ipswich, I don't think. And Nottingham Forest is only a point ahead. Yeah. So it's like one win.
Remember, top 5 gets it, right? Top 5, but still, it's super tight between 3 and 6.
They need the points
7,
for sure.
3 and 7.
And then Strand Larson, I think his recent performances. I think I don't know where you'd need to save money. I guess you could go for him alone and just skip Cunha if you really wanted to. Danny Welbeck is in my team currently. I don't know if I would start him or not, but I think João Pedro's suspended.
Yeah, he will
because of the red card. So you get Welbeck alone against. It's home against West Ham. It's not.
Could be interesting.
It's probably fine.
I'm probably not going.
That matchup is just not as good as.
I'm just not going to any Brighton guys in this free hit.
They've been. I mean, they did score 2 this week, and Welbeck did score 1 of them.
I mean, I like Danny Welbeck.
He's going to take he's penalty taker for sure. So you always like the penalty taker. After that, it's like just pure crapshoot.
Okay, all right.
Because I think the The one that could matter a lot is if you don't like your Iwobi pick in the midfield, and you're going to have probably just one of Sessegnon or Anthony Robinson, and maybe you start
So maybe you could go Raul.
Raul, if you find out that if Muniz is injured, which he didn't play this past week because of injury. But if Raul ends up getting the start again, or you find out that it's him by himself,
right?
I mean, Raul Jimenez has been. That's the weirdest thing with him this season is just how prolific, like by numbers, he's been the entire season, almost regardless of whether he's subbed on or not. So if it's him alone, I don't know. I'd be tempted.
All right.
You've been tempted often, and you've been disappointed every time.
He's awful. It's the worst own of the season.
Who's this?
Let's jump to the midfield.
Dave, who's your current midfield?
On the free hit?
Yeah.
It is Bumo, Diaz, Salah, Barnes, and Murphy.
Okay.
And I just brought up the transfers in for the week. I have 4 of the top 5.
I'm on.
Really, the only guy who's not in there is Salah because everyone already owns him.
Right.
So he's not being transferred in.
Mine's the same, except for instead of Diaz, I have Bowen right now.
Yeah, I was going to say the midfield kind of picks itself on the free hit, but not necessarily. I mean, that's the thing.
There are options.
I know. I at one point I had Alonga in there.
I know. So Bumo, number 1 transfer in for the week. That's recency bias and obvious pick.
Sure.
And numbers. It's, like we said, good pick against Nottingham Forest. Harv and Jacob Murphy, the next 2. This is a no-brainer by the numbers. If you're picking one, it's Harvey Barnes by a mile.
Yeah.
Like, there's no comparison between Harvey Barnes and Jacob Murphy. It's just that Murphy had that.
Murphy did have a 13.
He's done it for longer.
Switch earlier in the season.
Right.
He's just done it longer, though. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, the question would be is how fit is Anthony Gordon, and does Harvey Barnes? Is there any chance of a rotation?
But Gordon, I mean, how do you take Barnes out? He's been so red hot.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you need every point regardless.
And just in the last 4 games, I mean, this is Harvey Barnes 15 shots, Jacob Murphy 7 shots. Sandro Tonali has taken the same number of shots and actually is close in points with Jacob Murphy.
Wow.
Just that Newcastle had done so good there for a while. Tonali's not that far off of Jacob Murphy in points.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes is the number 1 scorer. He's taken the most shots. He has the most shots in the box. 5 big chances in the last 4 games. Total XG of 3.29. I mean, it's not even the only place that Jacob Murphy is edging him at all is in creativity. So 9 chances created and 4 big chances created. Harvey Barnes 6 chances created and 2 big chances created. So it's not like some enormous gap where you're like, oh man, Jacob Murphy's like the money makes him a clearly better. It's not even close, and Harvey Barnes isn't that much more expensive at all. Like.
Okay.
Right now, my captain was on Harvey Barnes. I mean, I was going to captain him given form and given
I thought about it.
So it's not.
Yeah, he's absolutely a captain.
I'm
choice
just
this week.
the whole fear was just around how do they rotate? Did getting destroyed do anything for them to just say like, all right, maybe these guys, maybe they need a little bit of a break, and they have the squad to do it. So that's the part for me where I'm like, not like Anthony Gordon's a bad player. It's just that he got hurt and Harvey Barnes caught fire. That's really it. So anyway,
feed form.
I understand why you'd put both in. For me, Jacob Murphy was
no guarantee that Gordon
choice.
comes on and makes any kind of splash. You feed form because if, God forbid, you put Gordon on and he's cold, and then you put Harvey on and you've messed with his mojo, and all of a sudden he loses his form, then you're in trouble. Like they're gonna. I just don't see a world where Barnes doesn't play.
Alex Iwobi next.
I mean, Gordon's subbed on the last 3 games.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, he's been around.
Yes, for sure.
And I just don't think, like Travis said, I mean, this could be the week. The gaffer could be like, hey, Ipswich, Gordon will give you a run. We'll give Harvard a break. I mean,
yeah,
it probably will happen this week.
Iwobi was next. He's gone 13-2 and 8 in the last 3 games. There's nothing like standout about any of his numbers. It's just that he happened to just thrash Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the one thing that he did. He scored this week, but again, it's just this is entirely like 3 good returns in the last 3, 2 good returns in the last 3 games, and they play Southampton. I mean, I understand why you're getting him. It's just not like, it's not fun. Like that's like, I don't know. I have him right now. Like I put him in there, like just when I put the team in, and I was like, all right, sure, let's just see how this looks. And I'm like, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Right.
I almost would rather pick Traore just because.
Wow.
Luis Diaz next. Finally he blanked, but of course it was against Leicester. This was a Salah flex week, like just flexing his prowess.
Oh,
I think just that he took 7 shots. Diaz only took 2,
which is odd because Diaz went from out left to the middle.
13 touches in the box for Salah. Diaz only had 4, but in the last 4 games, Salah and Diaz both have attempted 10 shots. So just to give you like Salah took 7. Like, where was he the previous 3? Like, he was nowhere the previous 3 games.
he needed a break.
Well, he also needed Connor Bradley.
So, 10 shots in the last 4 games
Trent.
for both
That
of those
helped,
guys. 3 shots on target for Luis Diaz, just 2 on target for Mo Salah in the last 4 games. So
Diaz's shots were all like super weak, though. They were like off balance,
Ryan,
little
do you have
dribblers.
shots on Tottenham and how many shots they're giving up per game?
is it going to be 5-3 again? Probably
Maybe.
not.
I feel like the game is going to be tighter. And I currently have
I
Salah
think
and
they're
Diaz.
gonna
And
be
it's not
sketchy.
because of talent. It's because of what's on the line. And
I think it's going to be nervy. I really do think it's going to be nervy.
I'm like, all right, Travis, a lot of people are going to be thinking about this. I have Diaz and Salah. If one of them's got to sit, who do I sit? Numbers say you play Diaz.
I
Do
would.
they?
Look at the last 5-6 match weeks.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
But
except
I
for,
can't.
if he had scored early against
Yeah.
Leicester, then maybe I think it would have been like, oh, we're back on it again. The thing I do wonder with Spurs is
They are going to roll over because they're going to go. They're going to go for it. If they get scored on early, they're done because they're going to open up and they're going to get destroyed.
I agree.
but it's another season where Tottenham losing hurts Arsenal.
I know. I was thinking about that.
So, and not
Love
only
that.
that, they're safe by points. And I
Yeah.
just wonder, they have 1 goal for their season.
And that's to make sure Arsenal doesn't win the title.
Leicester not mathematically eliminated, really did have something to play for against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Spurs have nothing
To play for.
They are way more pathetic.
And Ange's job potentially. If they
I
tank
think
their-
Ange is.
like legitimately, that could be a thing.
Maybe. I just think that it's a team that is already a team that was so pathetic that they were willing to lose at home against Manchester City just to stick it to Arsenal. I think fans are entirely fine with being the team that yet again is the reason why Arsenal lose a title.
Fans
I'm
will
saying,
be okay with
to
that.
me, I just think that Tottenham is right now, I feel like they are as pathetic as any of the 3 relegated teams.
And yet they're still in
In
Europe.
the league.
They're
Right,
still in
that's what I'm
Europe.
saying. In the actual league, it's the question that people
Do
had
they
already
score
asked.
a goal
I think so.
against Liverpool, Brian?
I think they probably do.
I don't know that they do.
Like, right now, I got Konate starting, and/or could be Virgil, and/or could be Trent. It doesn't matter. It
I
could
guess
be
it's
Connor Bradley.
I guess it depends on how much Richarlison just wants to be a tryhard. That's
And
it.
He will.
I was going to say that it was the question already of for the season, like what happens to Manchester United or Spurs if they finish 17th and also lose the Europa League? Like you are in a free fall. Manchester United I mean, they're equally awful. But like one of those two teams, like they both can't win the Europa League. Like,
yeah,
this season is just such a disaster for those two teams in a way that it hasn't been, and it didn't even feel like it was. It didn't even feel like it was like falling apart this badly. It didn't feel like it was crumbling so quickly, and now it has. I'm saying that's why I just wonder if not who does Jota get a run at all?
He's had a run and he's been poor.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I just wonder if this isn't the thing where it turns into, like, I'm not saying necessarily goal fest, but where they just win and they just flat win. It's a home game.
They win 5-0.
You'd hope that they would.
I just, to me, it feels like a
Anfield will be as loud, and as raucous.
I would say so.
They want.
You have to remember
the title.
They want to celebrate a
Sunday,
title in the stadium because they didn't get to do that.
Last time in 1902 or whatever it was.
COVID year.
Oh, no one was there. Yeah, that doesn't even count.
Right.
The only people that were there were Chelsea.
That's like saying the Lakers won in the COVID in the bubble. Like that's whatever.
The numbers
so
definitely
stupid.
do for at least the last 4 weeks, but it's been a while. We talked about this before. The numbers have favored Luis Diaz for a while. It's just this week.
Brian,
like
what
Salah,
say you?
I would,
if you had to bench one.
I would.
If you own Salah and Diaz in this free match week,
Salah's probably the one guy where I would just say even. Regardless of numbers, I think
it's a big moment.
And his numbers have shifted.
He's a big moment
his
guy.
numbers have shifted with quality, actual right backs behind him.
Yeah,
Bradley or Trent.
He's the one.
Either
guy.
way, he's gonna.
And he's a big moment guy. I like him because he's a big moment guy.
Yeah.
But the numbers favor Diaz.
I know, which is why right now they're both in my team, and I understand why anyone would put both in their team. It's the one to me targeting Spurs is like targeting a relegated team. I don't see it as. I don't feel like it's that different.
That's fair.
Spurs are
I can't
so
wait
bad.
to discuss my team and then tell me who to bench.
Jared Bowen
wait.
in your team.
He is, but he's my first bench spot right now.
Another obvious rest of season pick. I can understand why you might bench him.
You want to save that for next week, just a tease?
I just think I think he's fine to play either way. He was a better pick on double game week than most of the double game weekers. You should have sold whoever you had from Newcastle and turned it into Jared Bowen. You'd be happy.
All right.
You should have gone for Jared Bowen over Rodgers or Asensio or Rashford or De Bruyne or whoever. He should have been your pick. Bruno Fernandes back in the top 10 of transfers in. Got his rest against Wolves. Rest of season for Manchester United. At Bournemouth, at Brentford, home West Ham, at Chelsea, home Aston Villa. Is that good?
No.
I just they got if League Ben was giving us a mojo table, they United would be low.
Of course.
They'd be very low.
The thing, Bruno's like, he's got one of those, like, a little bit like he had in the last couple seasons where the numbers have been fine. He's just not getting, just the returns haven't happened.
Okay.
So he's still taking a lot of shots, still putting a decent number on target. He's still creating a ton of chances and just has had 0 returns in the last 4 games. So this week's not bad. I understand. He'd be to me, even at 16.9% selected, he seems like a real differential free hit guy. Because I just don't think.
I know. I was eyeballing him.
I think if you're you're picking all these other people above him, they're obvious choices. This is why Bruno this far down. Like, look, he rested. He got 30. He still came off the bench. He got 31 minutes. I mean, he needed a little bit of a break. They got beat. They still are trying, and he's still good. And the matchup is fine. So that's why I'm like, I understand why. Like, I don't think it should be just no, I'm not going to have him. Alanga's the tricky one. He's after Bruno. 45 minutes this week. Got the assist on the Chris Wood goal. But his third straight game with less than 60 minutes played, which Nuno said was tactical. I thought it was just minutes managing because of injury or whatever, and it's not. Nuno said we were controlling the game, but Spurs were creating lots of crosses and had space in wide areas. So at halftime, it was about having an extra man and squeezing a bit more. You have one less man to press in midfield, but then you have one more in the box. And Elanga is the one that they took off, even though Elanga was danger man. So he's high risk. To me, high risk, high reward. I mean, that's obvious to say, but that's why I said Brentford defensively, it's a team of defensive liability. I don't know if Elanga starts and plays 60 minutes or 70 minutes, Elanga could have one of those, like a boom game that like he's had earlier in the season. When he's playing, he's awesome. I mean, Elanga's like,
he's really good.
Looked so good.
I like him.
So it's really like, how lucky do you feel? I feel like with him. The big question is Cole Palmer. Do either of you have Cole Palmer in your team? Come on, Dave. He's your favorite player.
Who?
You have his jersey.
I held on to him too long, and I blame him single-handedly for tanking my season.
You
Not
wear
me.
Wear his shirt out in public.
I'm not that cold.
He's still in 36% of teams.
I know.
36%.
I know.
People have given up.
Dead teams.
Purely a faith or hope or love choice. Like there is no other reason that you're putting in. The only stat that people have given that makes me even remotely consider him is that the last time Chelsea played Everton at home, he scored a quarter pounder. That's 4 goals.
We haven't had many of those.
Thank you.
We haven't had a quarter pounder this season.
Only him.
I haven't had a quarter pounder in years.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Though. Okay.
Quarter pounder is one of my favorite fast food
quarter
burgers.
pounder is so good.
I love quarter pounders.
So good.
Would you rather have a quarter pounder or a Burger King Whopper?
Whoppers are good. I just don't like.
Do you get cheese in the Whopper?
Look, I'm real.
Doesn't matter.
I like.
Sure.
I know. I
Pick-
like my
pick your
burgers
poison.
away, and I don't want ketchup on any burger that I ever eat, and I don't want tomatoes on any burger I ever eat.
I agree. I don't want tomatoes on mine either.
You're both weird.
No,
I don't want one. I don't want gloppy
If I don't have to
goop
crunch
of tomato.
If I don't have to crunch through a salad to chew my burger, then it's not worth it.
I would want.
I'm okay with lettuce, and I'm okay with a bunch of onions.
I was gonna say you can pile the lettuce up, and you can stack raw onions as high as you want.
100%. Get the tomato.
You guys are wrong.
Off my burger.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I had a burger today at Corner Burger.
I still haven't been there.
It's amazing. If you haven't been there today,
Right down the street.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Corner Burger is amazing.
I'm not wild about mayo. It's not as bad as it's not as bad as I think it is every time I have it, but it's not a preferable condiment.
Yeah,
mustard is.
I want mustard. You know what I like
that.
at Five Guys on my burger is A1 steak
I love
sauce.
that too. Man,
Interesting.
we are simpatico with burgers today.
A1 steak sauce on
These
a
are
burger
just
is
both
fantastic.
No, I'm with you. That's on my Five Guys.
I don't need
every
ketchup
time.
when barbecue sauce exists. There's no reason at all. Warm ketchup on a burger.
I would give you that. That's fine. I would prefer
go straight
barbecue
to
sauce over ketchup, but I like the tang of ketchup. I like the tang of ketchup.
Okay, all right.
When ketchup gets warm, it makes me gag.
Ooh.
Warm ketchup on a sandwich makes me. I throw it away.
You know when ketchup's best on a
red squeeze bottle.
in a red squeeze bottle on a crinkle fry on a
red narrow tip squeeze bottle
on a crinkle fry.
Burning hot crinkle fry.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Almost nothing better.
All right. I can't.
Why is it always better out of the red squeeze with the narrow tip?
I don't know.
It's so
There's
unreal.
something about a narrow tip.
Yep.
There you go.
Cole Palmer. It was a 6-0 beatdown. So the last game that Chelsea played against Everton,
That was
at
good
home,
vibes, Chelsea, man.
Good vibes, Chelsea. Nearly relegated Everton.
Yeah.
He scored 4, including a penalty. So he scored the first 3 and then scored a late penalty. Again, I don't know how to say this is not a nearly relegated Everton team, and this is not a
Good
vibes Chelsea
Yeah.
team. So that's why I'm like, his
All right.
numbers are still fine though.
Already dwelt too long on Palmer.
But I'm saying like he's still taken the third most shots of any available playing midfielder that you could pick this week in the last 4 games. 13
He's
shots.
definitely back on form to some extent after his injury.
Right.
I don't think it's crazy to pick him. Most people are going to have the money for him. It's just
0 big chances in the last 4 games, an XG of 0.93, which happens to be the same XG that Mason Mount has had in the last 4 games. And
That's how you know you're doing it right.
Mason Mount has played like 60 total minutes in the last 4 games.
Golly, that guy just can't get a break with injuries.
The only other guys,
Kluivert and Matoma.
Kluivert
I considered Kluivert, but the matchups are just way better other places.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's more. Yep. I agree. All right, cool.
So
excellent. Way to go, guys.
Yes.
What's
way
in your
team? What my team currently?
Yeah. List your team and then who you're benching.
Front to back.
I'm serious because
he wants it so bad.
So currently it's starting goalkeeper Lino. I'm playing a 4-4-2 as I currently have in there right now, which is Ryan Aït-Nouri, Sessegnon, Fabian Schär, Trent, Diaz, Salah. It's a Wobie in the midfield for the time being, and then Harvey Barnes, Cunha, and Isak.
No Bumo.
Cunha and Isak, Captain Harvey Barnes, with Welbeck, Cole Palmer, and Nico Williams on my bench.
Okay.
However,
hold on.
You're
Welbeck,
not playing Vissa
Nico Williams,
again,
and
Yeah.
I don't care about
You're
keeper.
crazy.
And who's your starter keeper?
Lino.
right now it's Lino.
Okay.
But that's the thing. Like this is where
wild.
I'm saying if you were gonna pick based on selection, like selection,
You had
percentage.
to have some of the guys.
Right. No, for sure. And so that's where
crazy.
I'm like, I like for transfers in for the players that are kind of that are available. It's the reason why Sessegnon is turning into he's going to be a popular pick this week.
Yeah.
So regardless of what his selection percentage
Yeah.
is,
Agree.
it's going to be a lot of free hit teams that have him.
Agree.
So that's where I'm like, I almost want to swerve off of Fabian Schär and go to whoever the least owned starting
Dan Burn.
Newcastle defender is, which I think is going to be
Dan Burn.
Trippier.
So you do or not have Murphy in your team?
I do not.
Okay.
Wild.
All right.
That was the first. That
First
was
pass.
the
Rough
first
draft.
free hit. I have not
You're
done.
probably not
anything.
gonna change it.
I made that free hit team as soon as I clicked
Push the button.
Right. As soon as I
Okay.
hit it, I have not done anything
right.
to it since.
Which is good because you got a good load of people that price have changed. So
Right.
that's good.
Not that money's going to matter this week. All right.
Right.
My starting team at the moment, Lino, Tati for Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that I have to clarify that. Sessegnon, Kanate. I could go to Virgil, but Brian, I kind of like he's 7.7% owned. So I could go to Virgil at 26% owned.
Yeah. The only guys we didn't talk about with your team is who starts on the other side.
Who knows?
Does it matter?
Probably Robertson.
Probably.
Robertson.
Okay, because in that case, Andy Robertson at 5.8, who had not started once he got a -1 when he got when he got the own goal against West Ham, and then of course 0 minutes against Leicester.
Yeah.
Does start this week.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think that's entirely crazy.
Okay.
I mean, that's a
Low ownership.
The only thing that would make him not start is if Tsimikas needed appearances to get a medal, which I think he might be close.
Okay.
I don't think he's close enough. I think he's
Check
probably
your
secured.
sources. I need to know. All right.
Yeah, text us later and don't tell anyone else.
Tati, Sessegnon, Kanate, and Aït-Nouri.
Yep. Okay.
Midfield currently Barnes, Bumo, Salah, Murphy,
Okay.
Cunha, Isak. And then
Okay.
this is where it gets ridiculous. It's Diaz, Vissa, and Kirkez on the bench.
Yeah.
And
That's going to happen.
And I'm like,
you're going to have that no
what-
matter. You're going to
like-
have that if you're on a free hit. You're going to have 3 players on your bench, probably 4 players on your bench where you're like, I hate this because those 4 might be able to outscore most of my starters. It's just
Diaz and Vissa could each have a brace this week.
It's just going to happen. Yeah.
And who knows? Kirkes might get a goal and a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm torn. I feel like there's some guys you got to have. That's why I'm like, Diaz or Barnes or Diaz or Murphy.
A better podcast would have already figured out if the selection percentage does or does not account for free hits and wild cards.
That's interesting.
I think you referenced that last week, and we still don't know the answer.
I'm sure it's in the rules.
Find
somewhere.
a good podcast. They'll have that.
All right. Hey, speaking of,
Travis?
Simicast is way over the threshold for the medal, so that's not a factor.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
What's your team?
Travis, give us your team.
I am going to play a 3-4-3 with Leno, Sessegnon, Aït-Nouri, Virgil, Murphy, Barnes, Salah, Bumo, Vissa, Cunha, Isak. Benches: Bowen, Kirkes, Housen, Jose Sa.
Okay. Yeah.
You're making me want to start Strand Larson and Welbeck.
Yeah, that's an
I
interesting
know.
one.
When you hear that, like we almost have the same team already, and we didn't talk
Yeah.
about this before the
well,
pod.
we have the same
Starting
teams in positions, right? So you've got Totti, I've got Aït-Nouri. You've got Konate, I've got Virgil.
Salah was still the most popular captain. Kind of like I probably would have guessed that even in the double game week. I assume Salah
from
will
the
be.
teams, yeah.
I'm assuming Salah will still be the runaway number 1 captain this week.
Who are you going to captain?
I'm
Depends
saying
what your
this
team
is.
looks
I'm
like.
saying you're already spending. You're spending all of. You're using a free hit just to go after all of these relegated teams. Why not
to
go all
captain.
in on
Yeah.
captaining one of the guys against the relegated team?
Mine's on Isak. It's stupid, but you have to go for a relegated team.
I do wonder if one of the this is I didn't necessarily want to start 4 defenders, but this is as good of matchups as you'll ever have,
For
where you can
offense.
play
Yeah.
4 defenders and be okay with it, and play 4 midfielders and be equally okay with it, and play 3 or 2 or 1 forward and be completely okay with it.
You know what Isak had last time they played Ipswich?
0.
17 fantasy points.
That's a lot. That's a
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Newcastle beat them 4-0 at Ipswich.
Very interesting.
And Ipswich is now without their best defender.
You love a home captain. Ben Johnson will be fine.
Love
You-
a home
you do
captain.
love a home captain.
You do not love the early kickoff, which is 7:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Who's got
the
in
early?
United States. Chelsea home to Everton. Another
Yeah.
reason to avoid
don't
all
like-
players in that game.
Don't like early kicks.
Yep. And then there's no noon game here, which is the late game. What would be a late game over there? But there's only those 4 games then at 10 o'ck. Just so that
Probably
everybody,
because
just
the
so everybody,
FA
you're right,
Cup
just so
match-
everybody can tune into the FA Cup. match.
Yep.
Are both semifinals on Saturday? Probably not, right? Isn't
think they
one
are.
on Saturday and one on Sunday? Because they're both games are at Wembley, so they're not gonna
that's a good
final. They're
point.
not gonna final four that thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So one of them's got to be on Saturday and one's got to be on Sunday. All right, Travis, did you mention your captain? You said you had on Isak currently.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're Saturday then Sunday.
Brian, is there any way there's no way we can see who's most selected before the match week, correct?
No, I don't think so. I think you're just gonna. Have
Oh man, I mean Harv looks juicy. Isak,
I like the idea of
juicy.
going with Harvey too.
Cunha, man,
this is one of the weeks where.
and then there's Salah who could get a hat trick at home and ride off into the Premier League title. I mean, it's just
the obvious.
Bumo could turn in a hat trick against Forest.
Yeah,
Gotta own him.
that's the hottest hand. Is Bumo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game week.
Yeah,
So-
and it's It is an away
I don't
game,
like an
which
away
I don't love,
captain.
and
I
it's
hate
against
an
a
away
Forest
captain.
team that is struggling but can show up.
Yeah, they're still good.
Yeah, so
No, and that's the thing. Like, I think
I still think Ipswich is the weakest defense right now.
the stable of choices, like, you can pick. There are like 10 solid defender choices. There's like 8 to 10 solid midfielder choices. There's 4, 5, 6
That's about it,
reliable
yeah.
forward choices. Like, there's people like, but you can't really go too far. Like, if you really wanted to go crazy and get Evan Nielsen on your
No, I don't.
free hit,
I
right?
don't.
That's like as far on the fringe as you can go as a forward choice. Or you'd have to pick entirely contrarian and just say, you know what? I don't care if Spurs have been bad. Brennan Johnson is in my free hit. I will start him
Richarlison.
because he's going to get 2 assists this week or something. Like, that is the most that you can do here. That's why I just don't know really how far off of this.
Vissa's
you can
coming
go.
off a 9 and 11.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like.
he's been excellent.
I just benched Diaz for Vissa.
Yeah, I would-
Actually, that's not true. It was Sessegnon.
Now that's one to me,
And I
that's
just
where
brought Sessegnon in.
like
against Southampton. Come on.
I know, but like what? I guess I could bench one of the Wolves defenders, but they're playing against a Leicester who really cannot score.
At home too.
Southampton at least has a guy named Dibbling who won't be there much longer.
yeah, true.
And they got the tall
Fun.
guy. I like that guy. The 6'7" tall guy.
Zenderberger.
Ogun, I can't say his name. Brian, help me. How do you say his
Ogun by Wale.
That's not it, but that's better than I can get out.
Listen,
It's Ogun something Chew. Ogawanchu or something.
we
If
talked
only
about
there
it a
was a
little bit
way.
ago. We talked about it.
Yeah, you said it.
Unbelievable.
Probably right. Probably not right.
Brighton's the team. That's one that I think the most you could do, you could go for a Matoma Welbeck double up and just hope that they score 2 or 3, which they can do. I don't think
Onawachu is
I-
the tall guy.
I don't think that West Ham. I think that West Ham. First of all, if West Ham had kept a clean sheet last week, it would have been the luckiest clean sheet in history.
Uga Chukawu
So-
is the guy who just scored this past
Right,
week.
So what I'm saying is
He's
that
a midfielder, though.
Brighton's playing at home against a West Ham team that should have gotten scored on probably twice in the
At
first
least,
half
yeah.
by Southampton. And I think Brighton, I don't think they're as bad as look, they had put together a run of pretty good results, and now in the last 4 it's been bad. So
All right.
is there a bounce back for Brighton? I don't see why not.
Golly, this is a tough captain week. This captain
I know.
week will be a huge jump for many, many teams if you can get it right. Because I think there's going to be some high scores this week.
I just think this
And
is
I don't think it's a straightaway, easily slam dunk captain. So I need to hit this captain.
That's what I'm saying. Like some of these players, like you can double or triple up, and if you have a letdown or an unexpected benching, like if you do get a big Newcastle rotation or whatever, and only the back line is starting, or you get another you get a 55 to 65 minute Jacob Murphy appearance that turns into a 1 or a 2.
Right, brutal.
Like that completely flattens you in a week where somebody else might have gone double. Like if you did go double Liverpool, or you did go for one of or you did go Bumo and Wissa or somebody who else. Yeah, I mean, like it feels like it's a swingy week because there are so many teams where you could go 1 or 2. You could key on certain levels of the team, and then as usual, whatever your captain is
all right.
could make or break it.
Isak had a 17 against Ipswich last time. Major concerns about even if he is even going to play. He loves to score at home. I think I'm going to go with Isak with a vice on Salah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But Cunha is hanging around like, pick me.
Cunha's my vice currently.
Okay.
All right.
Travis, captain? I mean, Brian. I said Travis looking at Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, captain?
Well, I said right now it's on Harvey Barnes.
Okay.
Interesting.
But
It's
yeah,
probably
again,
going to be.
And
on
Vice is
Sesamo.
on.
Vice was on Salah.
Okay.
But I don't know.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I think that's about as good of analysis as you're going to find anywhere on Match Week 34. So
Probably.
there's probably a lot of other content creators out there. But they're probably just saying the same thing we are, and we are better looking and more entertaining than them.
That's not true.
For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.